para jogares. Olha, faltam 12 horas e meia de stream. Portanto, ainda vamos a tempo, irmão.
I have a very interesting video for you all. I've done a few of these on the channel before, cheater interviews. The last one I did, quite a lot of
Alguém aí não percebe inglês? Problema vosso.
people complained there was a no name in the scene and I didn't know what they were talking about. So today I am talking to the biggest cheat developers in CS2. Now they are all...
Queres pensar daqueles vídeos que o gajo vai ter a voz tipo...
Algumas partes sim, outras não.
Russian, so we are going to have to use a translator, but I've got a lot of juicy questions lined up for them. I can't wait to get into it. Quick little note before we start the interview, I do not condone cheating whatsoever. The only reason I do these types of videos is to expose the cheating scene, find out what they're all about, so we can try and fix that problem and have a clean, cheater-free game. If everyone could go around individually and introduce themselves.
I am A47, so I am one of the founders with Dart and So5. Right now I am doing a business job and I am doing application security.
I'm Dart and I'm also the owner and I do visual part of including UI, UX, wallhack and
I'm Soul here, but
Que jogo é
Russian people just call me Soul Thief, and I am a Ragebot developer. I'm responsible for all that guys that flying around in matchmaking and doing some crazy stuff.
That's you, is it? Okay. Okay.
My name is
Vai da prisão. Opá, isto legalmente falando, se apanhares a pessoa e souberes, pá, tiveres provas concretas, deve dar algum tipo de pena legal, sim. Agora...
I'm probably the CEO of the project, doing various operational activities, working with the community, some media promotion. My name is Serene. I do a lot of things in the company. I do all the translating to English, and I'm also a member of support staff, which is related to our market of scripts and configs.
You guys do hire a social media team, which I find is actually quite unusual for a cheat developer. I think you're the first cheat developer I've ever seen that does this. And do you think it has kind of like a good impact on your image in the community?
I think probably it's rather we decided to try it, see what comes out of it. Primarily, yes, to try it specifically as a business promotion, plus work with the audience and give the audience an opportunity to show something interesting. These are all big experiments.
A cena é que estes cheats são irrelevantes. Tipo...
Não, mas não é... Ele fala mais de muita merda.
Yeah, mas os que estão a aparecer na tela, estás a ver?
Sim,
tipo, não serve para nada. Tipo,
certo.
É que nem para dar boost numa conta serve. Tipo, tu vais dar boost, depois, pá... Como é tão escandaloso...
No,
we hope that such social media activity from us will be interesting both to our direct HVH player audience and possibly just legit players who are curious about what HVH is in general.
Obviously your approach to marketing, as you said, it is very new, it is very experimental, and the fact that you're just willing to put your faces out there is definitely something new. Are you afraid at all the game developers will
eles lá na Rússia são todos marados da puta da cabeça?
Catch up with you, or the law, or there's so many risk factors involved here. You could even risk like getting assaulted on the street by like, you know, someone who just knows you and is upset. Are those things that you ever think about, or are those things that you've actually ever encountered so far?
Here is a risk, of course, because basically it's not a crime to do something like that, because cheats are not a crime. For example, in USA, where Valve company is based, only copyright claims can be an issue, but it's still solvable. And because we are not in the USA, it would be harder to some companies to suit us. And the fact that Valve didn't do something like that for more than 20 years, it means that they wouldn't do like this in the future, because I think it's not their way.
Yeah, you picked the right company to make cheats.
Estás a ver? Mas também é um bocado isto. A partir do momento em que a Valve está-se completamente a cagar e não tem então, tens neste momento dois filhos da puta que fazem cheats, que promovem os cheats deles, a dar a cara, porque sabem que não lhes vai acontecer nada, porque não é crime fazer esta merda.
Cheats for.
About some street accidents, I don't think that it's possible in my country. It's a
Yeah, bro, mas Imagina tu fazer cheats e dás a cara tipo, e estás orgulhoso disso, mano.
Country on South Caucasus,
Come on,
and
yeah.
to be honest, it's a safe country, but it works fine
E aí,
here.
esses dois são os
And
CEOs, ou
I
caralho,
don't
da
think
empresa,
that
do
it's
fazer cheats,
some
caralho.
sort of risk for me.
Something like a large gathering of.
Não é no país deles, não é crime. Para a Valve não é crime, ou seja, se tu estás a fazer um cheat para um jogo da Valve, quem é que te vai dizer que é crime? Para eles, para o jogo em si não é crime, vai ser para quem? Para o governo do país? Não, eles não se podem sobrepor à política do jogo.
CS fans, like the recent CS2 major we had, would you ever
Não, na América não é crime fazer cheats para qualquer coisa. Foi o que eles estavam a dizer. E eles depois mostraram as cenas da Valve.
consider attending something like that?
Well, I went to Epicenter, for example, in St. Petersburg when it was held. I would say that all the people to whom I have spoken about what I do mostly react at least neutrally, and most are even interested. As for attending tournaments and so forth, honestly, I don't think anyone would recognize us there. Even if they do, there's never been any real negativity. I think it's an utterly improbable situation. So, realistically, of course there are risks. They're always there, but in reality, it's never happened, so that's that.
If you continue putting your faces out there and doing kind of public interviews like this, the risk keeps increasing. It's inevitable that eventually somebody will recognize you. I hope that whoever does recognize you doesn't hate you.
I think that even if someone...
Carbas, mas é a cena, tipo, por exemplo, o cheat que o PR usa, alegadamente, né? Tu para tirares proveito daquilo tens que saber jogar o jogo minimamente, percebes? Estes cheats aqui da Mbot e o Alec à cara podre é para pessoal mesmo puta de horrível. Porque se fosse só um radar é que os gajos horríveis, eles nem... Que olha, sabem onde é que ele... Pá,
actually recognizes us, I very much doubt anything bad will really happen. Just direct negative reactions are very rare. Generally, such people, the ones who just sit and play, don't attend those kind of competitions, I think. I don't know, it just seems to me that the likelihood is still extremely low that such a thing would happen.
That's what I thought as well when I started first making YouTube videos, that no one would ever recognize me. And then I was out in my hometown and someone recognized me, and it was a really small place, and that's when I started realizing, oh, if I put my face online, that these things are definitely going to happen. I do think one day you may not think it will happen, but it will.
I can definitely say it will happen someday, but even then, back in 2018, I worked with a musician like Bones, and even appeared a few times in his Instagram stories. And I was recognized then too. There are no problems with that. Anyway, if you're doing something, conducting some kind of activity, you might be recognized. Regarding activity in the cheating sector, well, it's simple. No one is going to beat you up in the middle of the street.
Boa noite, Gaspar. Boa sorte.
Obvious, only sick people would do that. Many people don't understand what cheats are and don't see the difference between, say, legit cheats against ordinary, honest players and what we do. We in turn deal with a kind of HVH, hacker versus hacker component.
Quem joga às 11 não é os maus, é o Gaspar. Foda-se. Foda-se.
And we try to promote this as some kind of esports.
I've seen that as definitely your marketing strategy, to predominantly base it on the HVH scene, which is very interesting. I'd estimate the majority of people using your cheat probably not using it for the HVH scene. HVH League that I've seen you guys talking about in different interviews, that is another thing that I've never seen before.
Well, we want to create something akin to probably the FACEIT, ESCA, ESL leagues. That is a fully fledged place where every cheater can find a team or play alone. There will be a full-fledged search by, well, skill-based search, points, ratings, and of course, tournaments.
Só ponto. Há merdas tipo que eles falam tipo. Mano, tipo, ninguém quer saber, estás a ver? Por exemplo, isso dos X versus X. Vês no vídeo, tipo, perguntas que te interessem e vês. Porque senão eu acho que...
Mas não queres ver?
Não. Eu vejo. É só porque pode não ser tão interessante.
Não
porque ele vai falar mesmo muito disso, de cheats contra cheats.
fledged equivalent of Face It.
Eu estou a perceber.
Cheaters.
Mas eu tenho
With this
tempo extra, estás a
idea,
ver?
we will never meet the problem of unfair play, because this idea will be the fairest. Everyone has cheats, everyone plays on the same platform. Here it will be specifically a battle of skill, knowledge, abilities to use the cheat, knowledge of maps, tactics, or some kind of playstyle up to some incredible team gameplay.
I have seen those people that take this gameplay incredibly seriously and do
às
have
vezes
all
mesmo
that
cenas
knowledge,
mesmo
all the
estúpidas,
lineup,
esquece.
penetrable wall
Jogar
spots and
jogo para ver
everything
quem é
like
que
that. What do you
chutamos.
plan on giving away to the best hacker?
It will definitely include subscriptions to our product, some additional discounts or perks, possibly unique visual items, cash prizes. I think we'll reach the point where these are full-fledged tournaments with cash prizes. I think we'll be combining all of that. Yes, it will all be an experiment too. Well, skins aren't very interesting to our community because of the risk of bans.
Does it actually have a skin changer?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, so skins are kind of irrelevant to a cheater anyway, using your cheat, because they have the ability to use any skin they like already.
Eu acho que se jogasse tipo assim, eu ficava todo fodido dos olhos e o caralho.
Inside within the game.
We'll probably come up with something unique among our users, something that isn't available in the game. We already have some ideas, it's just a question of implementation.
And our players with our cheats, they can see each other's skins, which is set in Skin Changer.
That's very interesting. Do you think you would have a sponsor for the tournament? Actually, do you think anyone would be willing to sponsor the tournament?
I don't think that would be necessary, to be honest. Well, given that our tournaments, they're kind of future-oriented in this regard.
Future-oriented, é assim que ele descreve os torneios de cheaters que eles vão organizar.
So,
os torneios futuristas.
Basically, sponsoring of all tournaments would primarily come from all sales of our software. Therefore, since we are developing the product that can be used to play our tournaments, those same people essentially sponsor the prize pools. For the same reason, it also works, for example, like the International in Dota and other such tournaments. Basically, the tournaments that are successful are those organized by the companies that make the game. Most organizations, as far as I remember, that create tournaments as third parties, so to speak, mostly struggle with organization and are generally just unprofitable and uninteresting to major investors, which is why, for instance, many esports organizations have suffered huge losses in recent years. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Literally, FaZe Clan lost over $50 million just a year ago or something like that, and they even almost got kicked off the Nasdaq.
Did any of you use cheats before getting into the cheating scene? When you were an initial noob player, did you use cheats yourself?
Well, initially how it all started, essentially we were just playing with A47 without any cheats, but naturally later, as we mentioned in the
Os filhos da puta jogavam, viam que eram uns bots do caralho que não se mexiam, tiveram que dar a... pronto, olha.
interview, there was this wonderful Fix CSGO so-called. There we became interested in how it all works, to look into it. Generally, there was never actually a goal to play with cheats. That is, the interest was really to see how it all works, to study it. Of course, we were already into programming. Basically, we got interested how it all works, respectfully, and to try to make something of our own. Before this, we didn't play with cheats.
Another question that I know you have been asked in previous interviews as well is, do you ever feel guilty about any of the cheat creation? I mean, you do facilitate and help spread misery on a lot of people that are playing fairly, or do you have that classic argument of cheats will always be a problem, and if you don't make them and distribute them, then somebody else will?
Well, yeah, we just focus on HVH. We don't consider ourselves guilty in any way. Firstly, we promote a slightly different type of cheats. Maybe in the past, we could have been tied to the level where we interfered with honest players. But now we have a different view on the whole picture, and we are slowly but surely developing in our niche, which is hacker versus hacker esports. In terms of if we don't do it, somebody else will, well, yeah, that's probably how it would be. But it's strange to me that many who say that cheat developers are guilty of something, specifically in creating cheats, those people rarely accuse the companies that produce various games. Not talking about Counter-Strike in particular or anything like that. They don't always want to make their scene fair. They often need cheaters as well to make money off them, but this is strictly my opinion. I would also add that
no ponto em que eles estão, não precisa, Joé da Silva. Estes cheats não devem ser nada baratos, irmão. Eles já devem ganhar bastante bem, mano. Não precisas estar a pensar nesse tipo de estratégias.
we're currently working on segregating cheaters, specifically in hack versus hack, so that they don't constantly kill honest players. And we, one might say, are combating
Eles até se
cheaters.
sentem bem, mano. Tipo, mano, eles não querem estragar a nossa vida, mano. Eles até querem fazer sistema só deles, mano.
Competitive games in this way.
You raised an interesting point that you maybe shouldn't be the ones having all the blame. Do you personally think that Valve benefits from keeping cheating a problem, keeping all of these hackers in the game through Prime subscriptions, financially, through, you know, skins getting banned, these type of things?
No, I actually think that it's unlikely that Valve is earning anything from this, because Prime status acts more as a barrier for cheaters because it's monetary, and because they need to link the real phone number, which is a common practice in all of the games. They don't get anything from this, at least I think so.
They may not be trying to profit off it, but do you think they are, regardless of whether they're trying or not?
I think that if they were trying, it would be too insignificant an amount of money. Again, I think it's more of a byproduct. Well, yes, I don't think that Valve would be interested in that. Besides, they are now also on the right path of developing VAC and the so-called trust factor. In today's update, a lot of interesting things happen too. It's very unlikely they ever tried or are trying to make money of cheaters. It's more of a general problem of all games. In Valorant there are cheaters, in Apex Legends there are cheaters, in every game there are cheaters. The problem with CS is that there are a lot of blatant
Até jogar Warzone stream aí com os rapazes também e os filhos da puta com os cheats, mano.
If you don't see a cheater in Valorant, it doesn't mean they aren't there. It means they're just trying to seem legit and not get caught. There are slightly fewer cheaters there, but not by a lot, not by an excessively large number, I mean.
With your personal cheat, what percentage of your subscription user base do you think have subscribed purely to play hacker versus hacker, true HVH? And what percentage do you think are just trying to play Premiere against legits wanting to win games and smash noobs?
I think 90 or 80% is pure HVH. The other 10 or 20% are just randoms, bot accounts with low elo, and within 3 to 5 days they will reach HVH. Valve has a system for fast up-ranking, the so-called anti-smurf system. If you win 10 games in a row, you get a huge amount of elo. Therefore, almost all of our user base will play HVH one way or another.
Eu acho que eles não acreditam nisto que estão a dizer. Tu achas que eles acreditam, Gil?
Não, eu acho que não faz sentido nenhum.
Eu acho que eles não acreditam nisto que estão a dizer.
Eu acho que muita pouca gente sabe que existe tipo de servers de cheaters contra cheaters.
Yeah.
Features are strictly tied to HVH. We currently don't have any functionality for legit cheating. I would also like to add that there is no real interest for most people to play against regular players. It gets boring literally after 1 or 2 matches. You just kill everyone and it's completely, well, I don't know. Maybe someone would be interested in that, but I think it'd be a very small percentage of people. At least what I really see is that most people play actual HVH. At least it's somewhat engaging.
Do you think that there should be a punishment for cheaters. I mean, obviously, countries differ vastly how they treat cheaters. China, for example, are extremely harsh on cheaters. I believe you have to link your government ID to your actual gaming account so that if you get banned, you get banned and they know who you are. Do you think there should be a punishment for cheaters?
Well, of course, countries are changing, and I don't think that it's needed to make
esses servidores. Agora é preciso arranjar no CS2, no Go estavam sempre a aparecer na lista de servidores comunitários.
Não sei quem foi, mas acho que até foi o Sparkles que fez um vídeo a entrar nesses servers e a tentar matar um gajo.
Literalmente impossível.
I think it's about $1.
Yeah, I guess. And there are a lot of cheaters in China and in our user base also. So that's another thing which can stop people to be cheaters.
Why do you aim your cheat more towards a hack versus hack environment and not like, I don't know, some undercover pro league stuff or some premier smashing noob stuff? Because I feel like the hack versus hack sector is quite a small sector of people using cheats. It would probably make more sense financially to market it to just like the casual user who wants to get back at somebody cheating in game. I hear that that is the majority of how people get into cheating. They get cheated against, and so they download some cheats or buy some cheats in order to get revenge. Why market it to such a specific niche group?
Actually, HVH is not as small as you might think it is. Moreover, these people, for the most part, know what they need to cheat for, and therefore they're willing to pay real money for it, unlike some random, so to speak, players who just want to cheat. Therefore, they wouldn't be willing to pay €30 a month. Generally, it's just much more interesting than making some bullshit cheats. Basically,
eu acho que há cheats a valer €1000 e tal, o caralho.
Mas mesmo assim, imagina, esta aqui dos €30 por mês é do género. É para eles, é estes cheats, isto é cheat de cara podre, ou seja, €30 mês, é uma subscrição, os gajos estão constantemente a dar update àquilo. Mano, €30 mês, mesmo assim, mano, é muito dinheiro.
Is actually not this small. You can even look on YouTube. There are quite a few YouTube channels, and even on live streams there are often quite a lot of people. Considering our price, we earn enough with this audience. HVH is a completely separate subculture.
€100.000, mas de certeza, mas sim, Mariana.
100%. 100%.
Não, e há cheats a custar mais de €1000.
Sim. Mas
I
tranquilo.
would say it's a separate game within the game, and it's much more promising, in my opinion, to develop.
But in your professional opinion, do you think there were any pros at the most recent CS?
Claro que há, ok, Nico. Claro que há, bro.
Há cheats.
Mano, há cheats que custam mesmo muito dinheiro. Mas, porque aqui a cena é, por exemplo, estes pros de Tier 2... Ui. €1000 mês? Não,
eu
até... única muito mais de 1000, bro. Carbas, vocês não têm a mesma noção.
E eu também acho que há mensalidades de £1000 mesmo.
Claro, bro. Tu consegues, mano. Imagina, estes gajos que cheatam e o caralho conseguem ganhar tanto dinheiro em apostas e o caralho. Vocês não têm a mesma noção. Vocês não têm a mesma noção. Esquece.
Esquece.
Claro que o pessoal que compra cheats para jogar no matchmaking é uma porção das pessoas que compram cheats. Mas há pessoas que ganham mesmo muito dinheiro. Tipo, tu gastas €6.000 a comprar um cheat qualquer que não vai ser detectado. Porque, olha, estás a comprar mesmo um gajo de confiança dos desenvolvedores de cheaters. Vais jogar em uns jogos e o caralho, estás a cheatar, sabes que vais ganhar, apostas... Mano, esquece isso.
CS2 major who could have been cheating.
Probably.
We know, or rather we've heard and knew of some cases from the tier 2 and the 3 scenes where professional players use cheats. The problem is that on the tier 1 scene, any such rumor would be a complete disaster. So we can only guess that there might be cheaters there, but we will never actually know for sure until someone gets banned. Everyone who
não se preocupem que os cheaters que vocês apanham no matchmaking não são esses que gastam balúrdios. Os do matchmaking é uns trocos, é como este, é €30 mês e está fixe. Não é preciso mais. Claro, estes aqui Estás a comprar cheats da marca Dia.
Pro scene in Tier 1 saw what happened with Forsaken and similar cases. Either they are nervous and don't want to use them in trips, only at home where they are sure there will be no problems, or the developer team, working specifically with the Tier 1 scene, is so brilliant that we are unlikely to find out anything at all. I would say that they definitely do not use our software. Regarding ours, yes, it's definitely not ours. Hang on a bit, there is a lot of background noise.
É verdade,
One sec. There are kids screaming.
It's members of the HVH scene. Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. I'm guessing it would be more hardware-based cheats or something just weird and obscure that would be difficult to think of and hard to detect.
Most cheats aimed at the pro scene look completely different. They are designed for maximum concealment. Even the aimbots and others, they are extremely well hidden in this regard, and yes, they are not always hardware-based. I recall one method where computers were connected to the internet and it was possible using special maps to execute some code that would embed the cheat into the game. But as far as I remember, this method has been fixed.
Workshop maps.
That's a weird exploit.
You just download a workshop map, join on it, that is, you have injected cheat.
Yeah.
Imagina, bro.
The other method was including RAR archive inside image.
Eu quando vi esta nem tinha noção que seria uma possibilidade.
Unpack it and run the cheats.
Foi por isso que eles fizeram aquela cena de quando entravas no mapa do workshop não conseguias depois entrar na Faceit.
Yeah.
Foi o fix que eles arranjaram.
Of detections and trying to avoid detection, I hear around the community that your cheat is very good at avoiding detection. How many ban waves have you had so far, if any, and how are you so good at avoiding detection?
That was mostly accident because we didn't target to bypass and cheat completely. It was just an easy task. Our cheat just works.
So you've had no ban waves so far?
Only one ban wave for using no spread feature, I think.
Okay, yeah, it's just
In CS2.
feature specific, not your entire cheat.
In CSGO, we didn't bypass WAC because most of our players play it only on HVR servers.
Yeah, not secure back servers, yeah.
Yes, but regarding CS2, there is a premier mode, but we didn't do anything really specific to bypass WAC because it's not good now at all.
It's not a good anti-cheat.
Yes, it's very easy to bypass. We shouldn't do anything to bypass it, to be honest. Just small fixes.
We can also mention the architecture of the cheat, simply that it's undetected by design. About VAC waves. In December, Valve mistakenly issued false positive bans while trying to fix them.
O Miquel Almeida, mano, foi banido injustamente, mano.
No spread feature because they tried to logically determine that a shot fired by a player was suspicious due to impracticality in some sense, and it partially affected our user base, but also ordinary players. Those bans were later reversed.
Even for users of your cheat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And regarding the ban
users of your
ordinary players, those bans were later reversed.
Even for users of your cheat?
Yes.
O que ele perguntou?
Ai, what? Eu pergunto... Calma.
Those bans...
se os gajos que usavam cheats também levaram reverse no back.
Reversed.
Even for users of your cheat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And regarding the bans after New Year, which we thought were for no spread, we believe these were likely semi-manual bans, that players just had some unrealistic statistics, and including manual review of some demos by someone.
100% headshot ratio stuff, yeah. How do you think Valve can combat the rise of stuff like, I know it's not really your department, but like direct memory access cheats?
I think ban is not the best way to block these features. I think the trust factor is much better way.
Like shadow ban.
Yeah, it's like a shadow ban.
Yeah.
They used something like that in Dota. It's like hide and pull. In that case, cheaters would play versus other cheaters, and they will not really know if they are detected or not. So cheat developers will not patch any detection vectors because they will think that their cheat is undetected.
Yeah, it might be obvious when everyone's looking at the floor with a scout, but who knows?
Yes, it will be obvious, but not so obvious when you just ban people and they buy another account to cheat. Especially in our case, most of our user base will not care about this hidden pool. If you are talking about legit players, it's much harder because they try to hide their cheats and they don't want to play against other cheaters. It's much harder, and I don't really know what can they do, but at least they should begin with rage cheaters, I think.
Definitely, that should be the easiest to solve. I mean, even basic anti-cheat should be able to see.
But basically, I think they should improve the server detection vectors, because cheat developers can't check which server detection methods they use. So basically, server detections are much safer.
Yeah.
But with server detections, it's much harder to catch legit cheaters. So it's a big problem, but I think Valve can really solve it.
Regarding direct memory access cheats, DMA as they are called, even quite large anti-cheat companies also have problems in combating these methods. So I think Valve is unlikely to consider this as a problem, and such cheaters will be caught making mistakes in Overwatch. That is, they can stick to some very basic checks which are already known to DMA cheat developers.
I saw with the most recent update that Overwatch has actually been put back into the game, which is strange because I would have personally thought they have enough data now to feed it to their AI anti-cheat, but it seems like they want more data from more users confirming it. Why have they added Overwatch back into the game?
The problem lies directly in filtering the data.
Uma pergunta, não quero parecer contra a maré, mas eu não percebo muito de cheats. O pessoal que cheata em MM, por exemplo, ou até à Faceit mesmo, que não sejam apanhados, caso nunca cheguem a torneios, fazem dinheiro de que forma? Não fazem.
Não, mas o que nós estávamos a dizer é cá é tipo, há muitos cheats e tipo, esses gajos que toda a gente apanha nos MMs é tipo, cheats de que até 300 paus e o que estamos a dizer é que tipo, o pessoal que gasta muito dinheiro em cheats é tipo cheats mesmo bué caros para fazer dinheiro, como estava o Arroz Doce aí a dizer, de cheats que outros usam e o caralho e essas merdas. Yeah.
To be sure who is really a cheater and who is not, because their data, it's just a set of numbers, roughly speaking. And just by applying some logic, you can't always distinguish the real cheater who needs to be marked. It's not as simple as it seems, and Overwatch was added exactly for that reason, possibly to train Vagnet.
Thought in things like CSGO it had already collected enough data, but I also heard...
Yeah, mas a cena do GTA é que os cheats estão in-game, mano. É só ir ao telemóvel, mano, e metes lá, dás chama à tua bazooka e ao tanque.
That cheaters were purposefully feeding it wrong data.
Well, maybe, but I think most likely the return of Overwatch in CS2 isn't just about gathering information on whether certain actions are suspicious or not, but rather to prevent artificial intelligence errors. That is, the AI is already confident that it's dealing with a cheater, but the problem is that AI can make mistakes. Most likely the AI has decided it's a cheater, but now Overwatch acts as additional confirmation that the AI didn't make mistakes. I might be wrong, but these are my assumptions.
Yeah, mas isto é bem pensado.
A while back, some pieces...
Tipo, em vez de no Overwatch aparecer só as cenas que o pessoal dá report, é as cenas, acima de tudo, aparecer o que a inteligência artificial já admitiu que é um cheater, e é só para confirmar.
Of Vagnet got leaked, which were collecting data, and after analyzing it, it was found that they are heavily tied to demos. The nuance though was that the demos in Overwatch were played back at a reduced tick rate, 32 ticks per second. Consequently, VACnet also analyzed just 32 ticks per second. Additionally, I'd like to note that the data from CSGO is just poorly applicable to CS2 due to the smaller resolution of data collected in general, because in CS2 almost all mouse movements are transmitted from the client to the server nearly every frame. Therefore, the amount of data can be tens of times higher than it is in CSGO. Let's also not forget about other changes related to the engine and networking.
Do you think Valve are heading in the right direction? Do you think they're using the correct approach to the cheater problem with artificial intelligence anti-cheats?
To some extent, I think their approach is similar to what other major anti-cheat companies are doing. For example, you can recall the Cerberus system in Easy Anti-Cheat, which was provided to all developers, analyzing the state of the game and the input data from players. It combined with their reliable client-side checks, considering Easy Anti-Cheat is really one of the strongest anti-cheats that game developers can afford at the moment. To some extent, this is a very correct decision. The problem with such anti-cheats as Easy Anti-Cheat, BadLie, or any other client-side anti-cheat is that they can be reverse engineered and figured out how they work. Valve is definitely going the right way. The question is, though, how long it will take them to implement this system. Their idea is to keep all these detection vectors on the server side, and thus for cheat developers, bots, or any third-party software.
Eu vou ganhar a retake. Quer seja a fazer piruetas no ar, a olhar para o chão, ou a olhar de esguelha para o radar. Estou-me a cagar. Estou-me a cagar. Pessoal, não é o PR, o português, ok? Eu amanhã vou estar na live do PR a dizer que o gordão andou a dizer que ele estava a cheatar.
Developers, it will be incredibly difficult to understand how to circumvent any detection vectors, because if you don't have something local on your computer, you can't entirely understand how it works.
I heard Valorant have started detecting DNA cheats. Who do you think is the industry leader right now in anti-cheat?
Easy Anti-Cheat, BadLie, and Vanguard.
Claro, da sua anti-cheat é bom, cara.
Claro que é, ó Gil. Então, aquilo penetrava-te o PC inteiro ao ponto de lagares todo, mano. Claro que aquilo tem que ser bom, mano. Tu estás a jogar e sentes todo o jogo pesado como tudo, aquilo deve estar a verificar tudo. E o do Vanguard também não é muito difícil perceber o porquê.
Que nojo, bro.
Quanto mais os anti-cheats te parecerem fazer o jogo pesado, melhor devem estar a trabalhar, digo eu, com os nervos.
They are leaders, but we can't really single out the best among them.
Funny you say that about Easy Anti-Cheat. I spoke to a different cheat developer not so long ago, and he said it was called Easy Anti-Cheat for a reason.
There are a huge number of different versions of the anti-cheat. There is a free anti-cheat, there is a paid anti-cheat, there is a premium and ultimate solution. So essentially each game developer can sign a unique contract, and Easy Anti-Cheat will accordingly work differently with them. It just depends on the amount of money the developer provides and how strongly it's integrated into the game. Yes, it depends on how...
Até que ponto é que não era inteligente pelas marcas dos anti-cheats pagarem balúrdios a estes filhos da puta que os fazem? Estão a perceber?
É.
É que eles também fazem os cheats por dinheiro. Ou seja, a maneira de os comprar é com dinheiro também. Depois ninguém comprava anti-cheats. A tua resposta não tem nada a ver com a pergunta.
Mas é o terror do Kama Sutra.
How well the game developers integrate it, how well they understand it. There needs to be synergy between the game and the anti-cheat for both to function correctly. Only in such a case will the anti-cheat work to its full potential. That's exactly
eu só uso o produto final, eu só cheat mesmo, eu não percebo a programação.
Valve is doing right now.
If Valve hired your whole company today, could you make the game cheat-free? If so, how long do you think that would take?
I think it's possible. I doubt that Valve would be interested in that, but I think the issue is that any movements towards the anti-cheat from current Valve are quite lengthy. Sometimes it takes them months to detect cheats or add some more checks, etc. If they had some additional developers, which is unlikely, maybe the anti-cheat would just become updated more frequently and would have to be monitored more carefully, and maybe cheats would become simpler in functionality. Most likely they would be updated more often banned, and the cheat scene would just look different. I think the main problem with Valve is not that they are making wrong steps, but rather that they are doing it very slowly, very tentatively, so to speak. Thus, updates that should have been done long ago for the same anti-cheat are coming out only now. The same goes for Overwatch being strangely added just now, and the AI which they wanted to implement. Again, there's just so much talk about it, but how long they will take to do it is completely unclear. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in 2, it's totally unclear. I think that's the main problem.
They are notoriously slow. Moving off the anti-cheat subject, do any of you play Premiere legit without cheats? And if so, what are your ranks, and do you own any skins?
In the context of CS2, I think me and A47, we played one match after the interview with Eric Shokov. Honestly, we just played one single game with him. Maybe one of us played a couple more times, but one game a month isn't exactly full-fledged gameplay or gaming. Therefore, I think none of us play without cheats. Me though, I have played quite a lot in Premiere, and past 20,000 ELO probably. It's just purely HVH. If you now look at the current, well, leaderboard in CS2, you can see a nickname at the first place with a config link, my nickname on the 3rd or 4th place, and then even more of our cheat users.
Chad, how did they get this through as the #1? Like, bro, the game is owned by cheaters right now. Am I f***ing stupid? iVitamin guy is the creator of cheats, the guy who got interviewed. So the guy on f***ing 52, why does... Oh my...
Socas comprou gajo os óculos que tens o radar na lente, mas acho que ele disse que ia demorar porque tinha que comprar os óculos para meter o software que custava uns 300 paus só os óculos. No vídeo dele, cá puta.
I thought it stands for Netherlands. Habibi, nine, I can't. I actually can't.
I guess it kind of just doesn't really make any sense in playing Premiere without cheats. So if you want to play legit, you definitely shouldn't play Premiere mode. We've sent some Steam account links if you want to take a look at it.
I'll probably be checking out some of your inventory.
I don't have skins at all. I don't give a fuck about skins.
That makes sense. I'm sure some of you are aware of the recent SV Cheats console command exploit. Do you think it was fair of platforms like Faceit to ban people for a year for using this, since it was something built into the game and they didn't have to inject?
Yeah, of course it was absolutely deserved. People who entered this command, who used it, they absolutely understood what they were doing. And pretending to be fools who are like, no, we did it by accident, and so on, it just seems stupid to me. I think it was more than justified. My opinion is that the situation is a 50-50. After all, the problem was in the game, that Valve allowed such a mistake. Instead of bans, Faceit could quickly make some kind of plugin or patch it using their anti-cheat, but they just decided to ban all users. In my opinion, it's strange. Yeah, the users are guilty, they knew what they were doing.
Sabes porque é que eu não fui banido da Faceit, Gil?
Tu usaste isso?
Não, porque estava a jogar It Takes Two contigo e tinha o pessoal todo no chat a dizer: mano, vais experimentar a cena que todos os streamers agora estão a usar? E eu, olha, agora estou a jogar isto com o Gil.
Olha.
Pois, porque senão eu já conheço. Então, caralho, uma vez que dava para comprar smokes infinitas e dar refund, eu estava a usar isso, caralho. Claro que eu ia experimentar o... Mano, para o conteúdo vale tudo.
But the problem was not entirely on the side of the users.
How important is your community to the success of your cheat?
Well, it's the most important thing to us. If we didn't have one, we probably wouldn't even have our project in the first place. It's like the existence of a spherical vacuum of some kind. That is, our community is our users. our development is precisely thanks to the fact that we have a large community. We owe something to our community. We try and develop and make a unique, cool product that is so that the community is satisfied, and thanks to this two-way connection of our community and us, we consequently develop and our community grows.
How many active subscriptions have you currently got right now? How big is your community?
I don't think that we're going to disclose how many users we have. We can only say that it is bigger than, well, basically during the times of CSGO it was much smaller.
In your opinion, what do you think is the highest earning cheat of all time? I remember when I used to play Counter-Strike Source, and I think there was a German cheat provider called... I remember they were like super popular back in the day. What do you think has been the most successful, most profitable cheat ever made?
I think the question is more suitable for a vitamin instead, because he stuck around for longer. But honestly, a very large number of particularly old cheats, such as they, over the last 10 years, have not really developed much. They at some point failed to keep up with the competition.
I'm talking purely from a profit perspective, not how good the cheat was.
É muito esquisito, Messi, é muito esquisito.
No, probably several huge providers.
Abusado, eu acho
que é full cara podre.
10 years.
Mano, eu acho que ele está full cara podre mesmo.
It's definitely one of them. Well, maybe some others. It's not that old, but it's also profitable in terms of money. And definitely make a lot of money. But it's definitely not thanks to quality, but quantity. They have cheats for several dozens, if not hundreds of games. They are very often detected. They have mediocre support and functionality of the cheat itself. But thanks to the number of cheats for different games, the user base stays with them. A person comes and buys their master package, gets like 50 cheats for all games, and he can enter any game with a cheat. But he gets in return something else, a high risk of a ban, scan functionality. The most profitable provider is probably that is the largest provider.
Mas agora imaginem, por exemplo, vamos supor que o PR está a cheatar, né? Né?
Yeah, pode dizer
Pronto,
isso. Yeah.
Vamos supor que ele está a cheatar. Ele só foi descoberto porque estava a olhar estava a jogar com câmara ligada e a olhar e houve alguém que desconfiou. Olha, aquele caralho está a cheatar. Agora imagina quantos gajos não estão a jogar na scene que, como nunca ficaram a olhar para lados esquisitos por terem uma câmara apontada à fronha no torneio. Estão a perceber?
Tipo, não sei se te lembras. Houve um gajo também foi acusado desses cheats, que acho que era o Sensei na altura.
Yeah. Eu lembro do nome desse gajo.
Yeah. Desapareceu. Mas não foi banido.
Of a bunch of
Quer dizer, se calhar até
cheats. Regarding the most successful, though, it is very, very, very hard to judge, to understand what success is. Is success making 100 cheats for lots of games, or making one incredibly cool product that is just really, really well known?
I think quality is a lot more important to you guys.
Well, if we are talking about quality purely, if we take CS, specifically the Counter-Strike scene, most of the cheats that focused on the CS cheat only and its quality, they usually didn't last that long. On average about 5 years or so, and then they would face a decline. There are many examples in recent years. The amount of time has existed, which is already at least 4 years minimum. In that time, a lot of cheats may have disappeared. If we take some time interval from like 2016 to 2020, that is, if you start counting, then in general you can count more
than...
Mas a
cena é, na Faceit já é diferente, ó Marco. Por exemplo, as CCTs e o caralho da vida, tu não usas anti-cheat. E na Faceit usas. Estás a perceber? Portanto, são conceitos diferentes.
Não é questão de usar anti-cheat ou não.
Yeah,
tipo, tu se metes um ticket logo num gajo que está a spinar, o gajo vai logo, é tipo instantâneo. Lá,
Certo.
tu lá no CS podes fazer o que quiseres que pá, tens que rezar um Pai Nosso pelo ser banido.
Yeah, imagina, na CCT eu já joguei o fechado e tu não precisas usar anti-cheat nenhum. Tu vais jogar uma retake não usas anti-cheat nenhum. Tu vais jogar uma MLP não usas anti-cheat nenhum. Online, nem é na LAN.
Certo.
Estão a usar anti-cheat na CCT agora? Olha, evoluiu. Mas olha, na minha altura não se usava, sabes?
Probably 5 projects that were sold close.
Olha, Advance!
Mas a CCT deles também é diferente.
Sim, eles também andam noutros palcos, não é?
Só porque estou feliz, porque reverteram a atualização das Dopplers e não ar de euro.
Obrigado aí, Advance 40 pelos 5 euros donation. Estamos juntos, mano. Estamos aí, vamos pagar aí as despesas de junho. Estamos juntos. Obrigado, Advance 40. Estamos juntos. Monster, vai obrigado pelo follow.
Closed or just, I don't know, disappeared for some other reasons.
If you don't mind me asking, in the 4-year span that you guys have been operating, how much money have you made from this project?
Unfortunately, we cannot name exact figures, but you can roughly estimate, say, with our market. Take the number of downloads of our Lua scripts or configs and multiply it by the approximate cost of subscription. Thus, you can very roughly calculate an approximate income.
Totally understandable, yeah, if you're not willing. If I were to make an estimate and you were to say yes, no, would it be in the millions of dollars?
We're not going to give you an exact answer.
That's absolutely fine. In terms of your competition in the industry, are you guys the market leader? I know there's stuff like that exists, and I've heard that is also a very good quality cheat.
Probably at this moment we are definitely the leader in the HVH scene. Some time ago within CSGO we were indeed competitors with, and it was an interesting rivalry to say the least. We are a bit different from them because first of all we are an absolutely open product. We don't take any additional fees. We don't say that we are some closed unique community. We simply work on our product and we try to not get into any fights with other developers. Within CS2 though, we did have a small fight with them, which probably ended within a month. At this moment we are the only leader and we are way above other competitors.
Forget the HVH scene isn't just toxic in terms of its community. Also you have to, you know, compete against other cheap providers that could be trying to attack you.
Oh, mano, a sério, mano. Obrigado, mano, a sério, Advance. Obrigado, mano. Mas eu estou de jejum, mano, para as próximas 12 horas, mano. Obrigado, mano, a sério.
Mais 5 só para ficares a pensar no menu do McDonald's que não podes comer menor que 3.
Mas obrigadão aí pelos 10 paus de donation advance. Um grande abraço, meu irmão. Supremacia, obrigado pelo follow, mano.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Well, that's our overall philosophy. The reason we are calm towards other cheat developers is not because we are afraid that they will attack us, but because
olha, mas uma coisa é certa, o PR amanhã vai estar ronda assim, a olhar para baixo. Todas as rondas ele vai olhar para baixo. Não interessa o contexto, o porquê. Não interessa se está a cheatar, se não está. É assim que funciona o ser humano. Amanhã ele vai estar sempre a olhar para baixo. Sempre, sempre, sempre.
Essentially our team's philosophy. Because other cheat developers have attacked us several times and we've received threats. We either tried to negotiate every time or didn't respond to.
Lá está. Depois do crowd falar, é que ele vai tentar fazer disso uma cena recorrente dele. Quer dizer, sei lá, exatamente o oposto, mano. Então, então, peraí. O crowd expõe-no. E a maneira dele combater isso é nunca mais olhar para baixo? Não, mano. É estar sempre a fazer merdas esquisitas. Cheio de tiques e o caralho.
to them because we just focus on our product. We don't want to interfere with the products. We recommend to all who are similar products like us in the market to focus on their product and the development of their business.
Não é de confiar também apostar neles, porque estão já contra os baits. Também são os match fixers. Também há um belo jogo.
There hasn't been a public crack, but I guess we are kind of ready, because any product can be cracked.
My next question is about exploits in the game. Obviously, your cheat features some exploits like rapid fire or magic bullet or things like this. How do these exploits even get found in the first place? Is it by your internal team?
Simply without reversing game, you can't make a correct cheat. So while you're reading the code of the game, sometimes you can catch some parts with your eye. Think what will happen if I just put some interesting input data and see what happens.
Yeah, trial and error. Don't think I have any more questions for now. However, I would love to do a little segment with you guys where I read you top comments from your previous interviews and just see how you react to them. This comment says, if you make money by hurting others, you are a terrible person. I also think that such people shouldn't be given a platform.
Maybe yes.
Eles agora uma bicatanga do hacker versus hacker e está respondido por ele.
Maybe no. This is primarily a question of views. Many say that cheat developers disrupt the development of the professional scene or something like that. I have big doubts about that, to be honest. Professional players play pracs, they play tournaments, and there is definitely no our product there. So no, I don't think we cause any harm to others or anything like that. People who can reach 20,000 ELO have already been playing on FACEIT for quite a long time, and ordinary simple people who just want to enjoy the game, they usually play at around 5, 7 or 10,000, and they simply just never meet our user. Moreover, we are working on solving even this problem by creating a league that most
Este cabrão há bocado estava-me a dizer para o pessoal não jogar Premiere que não fazia sentido nenhum, que só iam apanhar cheaters. E agora está a dizer que é muito improvável apanhares um cheater do produto de... Mano. Achas, ó Carvas? Ele há bocado estava a dizer para ninguém jogar Premiere, mano, que era uma estupidez do caralho. Não é o PR, é o PR dos maus, NXT.
HVH players will likely switch to, and let's not forget about the prizes. Besides, considering there is now Overwatch, regarding the vitamins argument, surprisingly there are significantly fewer cheaters on non-prime than on prime. This is the funniest observation in this regard.
Okay. Weird. Next comment. As a programmer, I mainly have respect for what these guys do. The people buying the cheats to cheat in Premiere are far worse.
Actually, our product's users rarely meet legit players. As has been said before, when you buy an account, it only takes a few games to
Ele basicamente está-se a contradizer de tudo o que teve a dizer há bocado.
Rise to a really high rating, and thereby you begin to meet, again, only cheaters. So I think this problem is very much exaggerated. The only thing that is visible here is that the top of the rating is just filled with cheaters. That's the only way it manifests. But in reality, ordinary players, I don't think specifically from our products, I think they practically just don't see it at all. And moreover, I would like to add that we are not responsible for our audience, that it turned out that way. The fact is, many games also don't have the best community, let's be honest. Just overall in games, there are still many HVH servers where quite a few people play. Well, at least half of our players play on HVH servers instead of Premiere.
I think the cheater scene was toxic before you guys got into it. Next comment. Cheaters gaslight themselves so hard into thinking they're not just pathetic losers.
I've seen this comment.
Yeah, next comment. I have played with so many cheaters in my games recently. They rage hack. It's so annoying.
I think if someone plays a lot against cheaters, they should probably consider whether they are really not a cheater themselves, because the trust factor in CS does work. and they wouldn't be able to reach the point where
isto é totalmente falso. Isto é doentio ele concordar com isto.
Cheaters play without the help of another rage cheater or software in general.
It's very hard to reach these ranks.
No. Without cheats or without helping from cheaters.
I mean, it definitely still happens. My girlfriend is new to the game and she's about 10,000 rank, and she does regularly come across rage cheaters. So from my personal experience, I know it's not just confined to those ranks. Next comment. These guys are such clowns. Lol. Hacker leagues? They're completely jaded if they think that anybody wants to watch that.
First of all, the league is created not for people to watch it, but for people to play it. Whether people watch it or not is a secondary issue. We already have cases...
São os renegados da vida, foda-se.
Estes gajos são doentes. Eu acho que eles estão a dizer muita merda porque não acreditam.
So within CSGO, where not specifically we, but the...
Mas digo-te já que se houvesse torneio de cheaters contra cheaters na Twitch, eu via, mano.
Não, eu acho que muita gente ia ver.
Eu via, mano.
Has created matches or some kind of league and brackets with prize pools, and this was watched by a gigantic number of people a couple years ago, or a year ago if not mistaken. Now there would be many more such people. This is just esports, except it's for cheaters.
I think that user will be quite surprised at how much interest there is in the hack versus hack scene.
I'd like to add that esports is generally a very specific thing on its own already, and it's not interesting to everyone, like some real sports, for example. So this comment could generally be applied to regular esports games as well.
Next comment. Why can't Valve do what Faceit does? Because people like myself don't want an intrusive anti-cheat on my system. What they should do is make an optional kernel anti-cheat that only queues against other players that have it.
Valve has always gone, so to speak, their own way. They always try to come up with something new, more innovative, and moreover, they often succeeded. Most likely they have somewhat different plans. They are working on something bigger, so to speak, more than just a simple driver anti-cheat. Time will tell. Of course, it's a long wait, but maybe the results will exceed the expectations.
Hopefully.
With the league, we are quite ready for them to tighten the anti-cheat, and in particular, Overwatch is already somewhat damaging us. Therefore, the league is also a solution for us to these issues, this problem.
Final comment. Arrest this guy, please. Cheating is basically stealing from game companies by driving off players.
Well, I'd say that it's similar to piracy. There is a fact that piracy is not affecting, it's like stealing, because when people pirate it, they are still interested in the game and like that.
But yeah, fair enough. Thank you everyone so much for all of your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Spasiba. Well, there it was, my interview with some serious cheat devs, possibly the most popular and most effective cheat in CS2 right now. They had a lot of interesting things to say, so big shout out to them for actually being willing to come here on the channel and discuss it all publicly. There is so much to discuss in this video, it's ridiculous. It was like a movie. So if there was any particular topic that caught your attention, let me know down below in the comments. Let me know your opinion on that topic. If you enjoyed the video, please slap that like button. It encourages me to make even more exposing cheater content. I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.
Olha, bom vídeo.
Mostra aí ao pessoal, tipo... server de cheaters contra cheaters. Acho que o Sparkle fez.
Aonde?
No canal dele. Eu tapei um videozito qualquer.
Caldas, obrigado, irmão. Caldas, obrigado. Há muito,
Here I
muito,
am
mano.
browsing the community server.
Não, deve ser mais recente.
Já há 5 anos.
Mas tens ali um ano.
Onde?
Já fizeste a tua pesquisa?
Hã?
Não metas CS2, não metas CS2. Isso. Não tens ali um há um ano?
Mano, estou bué da burro.
Lane vs Hackers. Isso.
Due to the hopeful Hopefully, after CS2’s release, cheat developers would take a while to update their cheats.
Obrigado, Caldas. Obrigado, mano. Do fundo do coração, meu mano.
Or at least for a little while. I'm not allowed to leave this server until I manage to get a single kill. It sounds pretty easy, but when you're a chicken in a pen full of lions, things are a little bit different. I think if I just look at the floor and spin, no one will be able to tell I'm not cheating. Yeah.
Mano, o que estes gajos estão a fazer?
Oh, I didn't even know that wallbang existed. Unfortunately, people from the server, they're onto me. Oh god. That was close, that was close.
Knife mid, let's go knife in mid.
This is what happens if I give the game away. They're gonna make the kill way too easy. Oh, way too easy.
Who killed Sparkles?
It needs to be a legitimate kill versus a hacker who's actually trying to kill me at the same time. Ooh, wow. Wow, that was a nice wallbang. Didn't know about that one either. Why can't you buy an orb on HVH servers? What's that all about? These guys trying to give me free kills.
Bro, kill them Sparkles?
No, this isn't how the video works. I need to find a different server. Apparently, HVH Arena is a thing. Let's check that out. Ah, let's see how this is gonna be. Okay, he missed me. He missed me. Oh, I clicked, and I swear I saw blood. I pre-fired there. I thought that was the one. This is definitely not gonna work. If my computer doesn't have a virus after joining these servers, I will be amazed. This is supposedly HVH deathmatch. That's a thing as well. And it might let me
Cheats, man.
Why is Warp banned in every single HVH? What's the deal with that? We're gonna have more of a chance here on the deathmatch.
Are you sure about that? It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
That is not a place you want to be. There's a problem with this server. Not just the cheaters, but I can't buy nades. That's my best chance.
Oh, I guess it, yeah.
Some classic dust too. And surprise, surprise, still can't buy an orb. I'm guessing it would be a terrible idea to peek these doors. Yeah. This. Seems like there's honor in the cheating community as well. I need to play this smart. I need to follow the guy who's got 13 and 0 because he knows exactly where they are and what pushes should be made and shouldn't be made. And then, off that information, oh my goodness, he is like... how are you meant to hit that? That is absolutely ridiculous. Why is my spectator view sideways now as well? Very, very confusing. Alright, they're coming through long. Probably up short too. Yeah, I hear him up short. Okay, now's the time. Come on. Oh no! 3 and 2.
Nice try.
Best we've done so far. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I do know this kill is gonna happen. Is this guy legit too? Oh no, he's walking backwards, funny up in. I thought I'd made a friend. He threw that over his head backwards. First time I've ever seen that. I cross. I'm a dead man. Let's see if I can beat it. Oh! I played with fire. I think that guy's on short. Oh no. Oh, I tried to free fire. I hit him for 17. That's actually the best we've done so far. Ok, Kobe, if you got hit.
Não, os cheats comandam moles. É o gajo que está a jogar.
Definitely the best.
Imagina, o gajo não está a ver o ecrã assim, mano.
So far. I have no idea how I managed to do this last time, because this is a...
O gajo não está a ver o ecrã todo a andar para baixo e o caralho, bro. O gajo está a ver normal.
Very hard challenge. If I manage to complete it, I'm going to celebrate by opening a cobblestone case. Because I feel like the odds are quite similar to getting a souvenir Dragonlock, getting a kill in this mode. Okay, he got wrecked. I'm about to get wrecked. Come on, that nade.
Man, Sparkles is nading, man. He's learned from the worst.
They're not happy that I'm nading. It's my only chance to get a kill, guy. I'm not hacking.
Oh, man. Fucking Sparkles. It targeted the dude fucking eating.
It looks like I wrecked these guys' games just by being in here, playing legit. That's good. That's good news. I'm like the human decoy.
Não, os gajos devem bazar, tipo, terem medo que ele esteja a estar a expose a cheaters, o caralho, o gajo é youtuber.
Targeting instead of the other hackers. Ooh, don't think his hitbox is where it should be. Oh, wow. Kobe! These guys are rooting for me to get a kill now. It's nice. Boom, here we go. Oh, we just keep getting close.
Yeah, tá visto, né? Foda-se.